Alright, so let's navigate, and this time I'm going to try and keep track of both worlds. So there's a descension point there. There's nothing there. So there's a descension point where I'm at. It's fine. There's an ascension point right there. And I guess I do this more for the sake of having a pattern. So there's two ascension points on the top screen. One right there, that's where I came from, and one right here. And on the bottom screen, there's one right there, which I haven't gone because I appeared in this one, and there's one right there. So it's not that I'm afraid to use the top screen to navigate. It's more that I need a pattern of looking through things, you know, a pattern of exploring an area so that I keep in mind where I've been and where I'm going. So if I go through this ascension point, I will not have explored. If I go through, let's see, if I go through this ascension point, I will not have explored this or that. And so I'll just be oblivious as to where I'm going. So, you know, like, I need a pattern. I guess I could do that, but then I have to remember where I came from, and I have to remember these. If I go through here first, I have to remember that I didn't explore these areas. So yeah, just a lot more to keep in mind if you don't do things in order. Man, this place has a lot of points. Someday I might do that when I feel like my memory capability is good enough to handle all that. All right. So we explored this. We found the exit. That was easy as well. So let's just try and navigate through this one. Right, so the exit is up there, we already know. What would happen? How would you... I'm wondering if the exit is up there as well. I think it is. All right, so right now I'm just exploring directions, right? So we already know that the exit is right there, right? But if I face up in the trans-dimensional direction like that, is the shoot. If I face up in the trans-dimensional direction like that, I wonder if the exit is still up there that way. Because, you know, like on the top screen, when we were thinking about it like this, the trans-dimensional direction does not change regardless of where you're facing on the other screen. So it would apply the same as the top from the top screen to the bottom screen. So it doesn't matter. I mean, it should if it's consistent. It doesn't matter which way I'm facing. Here, if I'm facing up, if I'm facing down, this direction will be the same regardless of where I'm facing. So let's try it. All right, so let's see. Let's kind of memorize. You know what? I'm gonna make it this simple. Let's see. So we already know the exit is right here. Watch this. I'm gonna do something crazy. Right, so you travel up, you travel towards yellow, and then you travel towards light green. That's how you reach the exit. So I'm gonna try it. I haven't done this before, so this is just an experiment. So you travel towards pink, then you travel towards yellow, and then using the top screen, you travel towards green. And there's the exit. See that? It worked. I guess what you're supposed to do in this game, or the best way to play this game, is to kind of ignore the shape of the location and just use the colors as reference That's why the colors are so important. Just use the colors as reference as to where you're going. But I mean, I think that's a short. I think if you do that, if you play the game that way, you won't have to think about how the environment is changing depending on which direction you face. It is a shortcut way to play it, and you won't have to really understand the fourth dimension in order to reach the exit if you just keep track of three blues, then red, two pinks, then one green, then three yellows. Um, if you just remember a code like that, then you won't really understand. Uh, you'll reach the exit, but you won't really understand how the environment shifts. So yes, I guess I could play like that, but I'm really trying to understand how both spaces and both the shapes of both apartments and both environments affect each other. All right, so we discovered a couple of things. I discovered that the reason why we use one screen as primary to navigate, is not so much because I'm afraid of traveling in the, it's not so much because I'm afraid of using the other screen to primary navigate, or because I'm afraid of traveling, but because I'm kind of establishing a pattern of exploration so that I don't get lost and so that I can keep track of where I'm going. Um, yeah, so it's just about having a pattern. And the other thing that we discovered is that um, you can go in the direction that you want to go just by looking at the color. So it's not about, you can completely disregard the shape of the room. Right here it looks like a nail and there's something down there. And right here it looks like you can go that way, and you can go that way. I'm not even sure. And then transdimensionally you can go to the floor, but that's not going to show it on the top screen. This way is not going to be shown here because you can't see it. So you can kind of disregard the shape of the room. The shape of the room changes depending on which way you're facing, transdimensionally or let's see if I can mess this up even more. Yeah, see, so the shape of the room is completely changed. You see? So you can kind of disregard the shape of the room. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that mess. Here, let me try and fix this. Like that. Like that. Okay, yeah. So you can completely, theoretically, you can completely disregard the shape of the room, and just pay attention to the colors to know which direction that you're going. And if you do that, you can pretty much reach the exit just by having a set direction in which you're trying to go, just by paying attention to the colors. I'm not sure how you would explore the crevices, but I guess you could use coordinates and keep in mind which way you travel in each direction. But anyways, what I'm trying to learn is know how the walls or the shape of the room kind of know how it interacts with each other as I'm moving around. So like here's the top screen. All of a sudden there's a wall in front of me. You see that? So the top screen, there's a hallway down there, and there's a way in that direction. And all of a sudden there's a wall in front of me, and there's an opening right there. So what does that mean? And if I'm doing that, I could face that way, and all of a sudden there's a hallway again with an opening downstairs, but now it's on the left. But now the opening is on the left. Let's see if I do something like that. There's still a hallway with that. Let me go back. So I'm trying to understand all of this, right? So there's still a hallway down there with an opening down there. I think that's because, you know what? I think I'm getting the sense of how this is supposed to work out. So there's still a hallway with an opening down there because that's still the blue opening. But on the bottom screen, it doesn't look familiar at all. There's only an opening down there, and I think, oh, that's on the bottom screen. So on the top screen, you have the hallway with an opening down there, and on the bottom screen, you still have the sideways, the turning point sideways. It's just the world is just tilted that way, and flip it that way. If you flip it that way, then it's the same thing as you were originally, with the hallway and the opening on the left side. If you go like that, then the walls switch. So the yellow walls switch, right? So the walls are yellow here. That's gonna stay the same. The pattern's gonna stay the same. But if you switch like this, the yellow walls are no longer present on the top screen. So you're not gonna see that opening there. So I'm just, I guess what I could do when I play the game is keep track of all the movements that I do. Pay attention to all of that to kind of get more familiar with how the shape of the rooms interact with each other as I'm changing directions. Yeah. So let's see if we can get this maze done.